Hi, happy Monday. I am back with an intuition video on June 10th, 2019. And for those of us who are parents here in San Diego, it is one day till summer. So our whole schedule starts to shift around. And whenever that happens for me, I know I have kind of a internal look on like, okay, what's going on for summer? It's just like a total shift around here. We live in a tourist town, and so we have a lot of new energy that comes into town. Hey guys. Hey Amy. I want to point out that the painting behind me is by my dear friend Asia Lee. We are hosting some of her artwork here and I love it and wanted to give her a shout out for that too. But so I'm focusing, I have a lot I feel like I want to say today. I had a lot come up in yoga, so I'm going to try and narrow it down. It's Monday, and I have like an exciting day and a week ahead of me, which is good. Our book club starts a new book every summer, and we do what's called the Magic Path of Intuition. We call it the Little Book of Florence Scovel Shinn. And just a little bit about Florence Scovel Shinn. She was a writer in the 1920s, and she talked and wrote a lot about following our intuition. And a lot of the writing done at that time is all around how to make money. And you'll hear that a lot when you read books like the Napoleon Hill version of this is Think and Grow Rich, or How to Think and Grow Rich. And so people often are attracted to that thought process and clearing away what's in the way of our intuition, because they're struggling financially. And in the 1920s, there was a lot going on. And then as we got later into, the stock market crash and everything then. So she was very powerful at that time. And there was an original transcript that was found and brought to Louise Hay, who was a publisher for Hay House. And so she published the little book. So during the summer, we do the Magic Path of Intuition, and then we'll go back once summer's over and do the big book of The Game of Life and How to Play It. We've been doing that for 9 years, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that and how our little group has flourished and got going, and just kind of some of the things that have manifested. And I feel I'm a little bit all over the place today, but the last step of the emotional intelligence piece I was talking about is the social skills. And social skills not necessarily are the same as what we would have thought about before. These are like being able to really have the tools of self-awareness, the tools of self-control, the tools of social awareness, then move into social skills where your visions that come to you from your own intuition then can go back out into the world. And that, I think, is what we see a lot of people do. And then we want what they have and we try to do what they want, what they're doing. But here's the trick. Here's what I have learned over the last 9 years. You cannot do what someone else is doing, because they have a place to fill that only they are able to fill. And then we have our own place to fill that only we are able to fill. I have a place to fill that no one else in this world can ever fill. That's it. And my job is to get to that place. And I think we see people do that. We make them famous, or we watch them on videos or whatever, or we know them in our lives and we go, how did you do that? I want to do that too. And I am not kidding you. My little group, my little book club has empowered this so much. I have this dream that all these little book clubs are going to pop up everywhere, so that everybody can get into their own place of where they're supposed to fill. And so in saying that, I kind of wanted to talk about the beginning of our book club, and since we're starting over, and hopefully this will inspire anybody watching to start this themselves and to really start so it really the reason this book club started was because I was in a big transition of life. I've talked about being a school teacher. I really was not happy as a school teacher. It was what was given to me. I was laid off again, decided not to go back. This was 9 years ago. My dad had just died of a horrible alcoholic disease. And I had this intuitive thought. I remember it clearly, that I cannot go back to teaching. That will damage me. Like internally, I had this feeling that was going to cause me harm, and that I needed to go to yoga every day, and I needed to just sit with myself. I had a 2.5-year-old little boy, and I wanted to spend time with him. And we did not have a lot of money. I mean, we were really, really, and my husband has his own business that is a sunscreen business. So it was very seasonal. So in the summertime, this was summertime that was happening. So I was like, we had some money, but come into the winter time, that business would kind of slow down. And I was able to collect unemployment. I'm going to get a little bit honest here. I was collecting unemployment, been laid off as a teacher, having this little 2.5, then soon 3-year-old. And I had a friend come and visit me, and I was basically telling him all the things that had gone on. And this is what's really important. You have to have people in your life who are going to tell you the truth. If you don't have people who are going to tell you the truth, you're not going to change. And if people who are telling you the truth make you mad, don't get mad at them. Look at yourself. I was complaining to a friend who I had been friends with for like almost 20 years. And he looked at me and he said, last year when I visited, you were saying the same thing. What are you going to do about changing your life? And it just kind of took me by surprise. And he said to me, you need to get your real estate license. I was super offended by that because I saw real estate agents as like used car salesmen. I was a school teacher. I was a songwriter. I'm not going into sales. And he said to me, trust me, get your real estate license. And so I had that moment where I'm just going to listen to somebody else. I told him I would take one class, and after that one class, I'll tell you how it goes. I took the one class, I said, okay, it's not so bad, I'll take the other. And so my goal was just to pass the test. I then went to a friend of mine here in San Diego who had been a real estate agent for 20 years, and I told her I was getting my real estate license, and she laughed, and she said, yeah, you and everybody else in San Diego has a real estate license. It's kind of like a driver's license. And I was like, okay, so what am I supposed to do then? She goes, you need to get a business coach. And I go, well, how much does that cost? She says, it's about $1,000 a month. And I'm broke. I'm on unemployment. That did not sound like a good plan. But I was like, you know what? I don't have any other ideas. I'm just going to keep going forward. And so what I did, I was reading a lot at the time on changing my thoughts. And we hadn't started the book club yet. And I would not allow the negative thoughts come in that were like, I couldn't see how I was going to go from point A to point B. And so I just decided I would just go, okay, I'm just going to focus on, if that's what, then I'm going to have a business coach. I don't know how I'm going to have one, but I'm going to have one. And I am not kidding you. A few weeks later, maybe not even a few weeks later, I ran into Justin Gittleman, who sometimes watches, and he had worked for Tony Robbins, and he said, I'm writing a book and I will coach you for free. And right at that same time, I had gotten my real estate license. I was trying to work in real estate, and I was like 2 months in. And I kept saying, I was subbing to make money, because you can do that. But then it was summer again, and I was just like in this limbo. I just didn't know where to go. And I had our manager at our office. I kept saying, I need someone to like train me. I need somebody. I need a mentor. I need to be on a team. I need a mentor. I need to be on a team. Like my head kept saying that. And I know now that was my intuition. And so my manager called me and said, hey, there's this team. They're very successful in La Jolla, and I knew who they were. And they need someone to fill in for 3 weeks. Do you want to do it? And I did not even question it. I just said yes. And that's a big, big part of following our intuition. And I know now that if I would have researched how many homes they were selling at the time, I might have chickened out. So I just said yes. I went to work for them the next day, and I work on one of the most successful teams. Now, in that time period, all this stuff was brewing up, and two of my girlfriends came forward, and they were having a lot going on, and one of them had found the book, The Game of Life and How to Play It. Now I'm getting free coaching, right? So I'm not paying the $1,000 a month at the time. Justin was awesome. He just kind of got me going, and I needed a lot of that. And then here I'm now on this team, and I am like literally walking out the door like terrified every day, because this is all new and it's nothing like I thought. And here's what I thought in yoga today. My bosses, Maxine and Marty Gallons, are coached by Tom Ferry, and I am so grateful to him, because I was so afraid that changing and going into the career I was going into was going to take me away from me. It was going to take me away from music. It was going to take me away from my family. I was going to have to like learn all these scripts and be like somebody I'm not. And it was the opposite. Tom Ferry is probably the best coach in the sense for me and our team, because he talks about what I'm talking about. He talks about emotional intelligence. He talks about being honest. He talks about be who you are. Like if you're who you are, then life is going to work out for you. And I needed a lot of work on that. And so I was brought to one of his summits with my bosses and realized like, oh my gosh. And I started learning so much from him. Then we started our book club every Sunday night on the game of life and how to play it. Now, Tom really likes How to Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which I have read too. I like it. I do find that more of the male population likes it. It's just written for men a little bit, where Florence Scovel Shinn really kind of writes in a female voice. So we picked her, and we have been doing that book club every Sunday for 9 years. And so much stuff has happened. It's like there's been so much freedom and so much undoing of things that are old ideas and shedding and getting into new ideas. I work way less hours than I did teaching, and I make way more money. And I get to be of service to a lot of families right now who have parents who've passed away, or people who really need to have somebody there to like help them and be true to themselves and be honest with them. And I can do that in my career. I get to write, I get to have music, I get to go to yoga. I would not change my life for anything. And I'm 48 years old, and I look forward to the next 48. My boss is 82 and she still works and we have a good time. I just feel like life is here for us to enjoy in the day, and when we find where we're supposed to be, and I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be, then life is really, really good. So I encourage you, if you're watching these videos, to really think about who are the people around you. Are they honest to you? Are you trying to cut yourself off from feeling negatively by doing whatever you do? Those feelings are guiding you to who you really are. So if you are like going, what the hell is she talking about? Good. Think about it. I do a lot of writing. I go to yoga. I talk to a lot of people about this. I watch a lot of videos about this. Gary Vaynerchuk, if you're a guy right now, Gary Vaynerchuk is the guy to watch. I'll post his video today that I watched. I love him. He does cuss a lot. Maybe that's why I like him. But I think that it's just so important. The most important thing for us to do while we're here in our life is to build that relationship between ourselves and who we really are. Some people might call that God. I don't call it God. I call it the real me, the intuitive part of me. I'm not religious, so I don't connect that way, but I do connect to that. Within myself, I have this energy that goes out to everything in the world, and that is my job, to connect to that. And when we do that, that is when magic happens in our lives. So I hope you have a magical week. Happy summer to those of you who have kids. Oh, and last thing, for parents, if we want our teenagers, which I have a teenager, to have a full life, we have to do it ourselves. This is the work right now for parents to do as well. So I love you all. Have a good week. I'll be back on Friday and we'll have more. Bye.